What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Patience, yeah, and just throw away your ego.
You're listening to Art Heroes Podcast, the show to help you thrive as a digital artist. Tune in to learn how to transform your passion into a career. Get inspired by other kick-ass 2D and 3D artists, and find out what it takes to be an art hero.
Hey guys, welcome to the Art Heroes podcast. My name is Maria JD, and before I introduce the guest of today's episode, as I always do, I'm going to introduce you to one thing that's happening in our community this and next week, and there is still time to join. It's Monster Challenge, a competition and a learning opportunity for 3D artists. It's really beginner friendly. There are 2 categories this time. You can compete with beginners or you can compete with professionals. And it's really not only about prizes. It's not only about the amazing judges and exposition. It's also about this epic community and people to get inspired from. So, I'm just going to leave a link here in the show notes and under the video, and we'd love to have you there among other participants. The more, the merrier. Well, enough of the intros. I'm going to now bring our guest, and it's Ran Manolov. You probably already heard of him. Ran is a really weird combination of a traditional artist and a digital artist. And he's also a pretty weird combination of an art director and an amazing freelancer who works with some of the world's top studios. So how he does it, that's what we're going to find out. Ran, welcome to the show. Okay, Ran, we're now live. Thanks so much for coming to Art Heroes podcast.
And again, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate, you coming to record this after everything you've been through today. I know it's been a long day.
Yeah, for everybody, they don't know what I've been through. It's not so difficult. I just came back from holiday, basically, but I am pretty tired.
When I said that sounded more important.
Yeah.
Well,
that's true.
Come on, holiday in 2020 is definitely a challenge as well.
It is. That's why it was only 5 days, but I'm quite, I can say recharged. It wasn't enough, but it was just great to have it and to be able to go around.
Yeah, okay. Amazing. So, Ran, where are you now? That's the UK, London?
That's the UK, that's London, and I'm,
right.
Just a few hours since I'm back and I'm in it.
Okay, amazing. All right, so I'll just let's get right into it, and maybe we start with you. So first things first. Maybe I can go ahead and introduce you, but I think you're definitely better at doing that because you're definitely more updated on your.
I'm more updated. Yeah, I must be.
Yeah, I hope so. I just know your LinkedIn profile. So go ahead. Where do you work on right now? Or in terms of studio and projects, if you can speak about that. So what's on your agenda days?
Yeah, my agenda today is basically get some rest, but just in general, I've been around different VFX houses in London. I started in Bulgaria, in small one. That's where I'm originally from, and then I came to London, started in MPC, Frame Store, ILM. Worked on some quite big and very challenging and interesting productions, and then I moved to a smaller house where I basically originally started. It was the studio where I started. It's called Worldwide Effects, but the one that is based in Sofia then grew up and opened different facilities now in London as well, in Portugal, in Braga. Where you are at the moment, not in Braga, but in Portugal.
Yeah.
Basically me and a colleague of mine and a great friend, we are running the studio at the moment. We are just supervising the work and taking mostly the creative decisions there. And just because I love what I do and I really want to always stay in touch with I'm always calling it actual work, but not that the other is not work,
Yeah.
but I do like to. I'm a sculptor. I'm an artist. That's my background. That's what my parents do, and my traditional background. So I always like to stay in touch and keep sculpting and doing characters and freelance character work for, at the moment, for Blur. Just recently did a gig for Blizzard. And so apart from my day-to-day job, I do freelance for different companies that do amazing work as well.
Wow,
Yeah.
sounds really complex. We'll dive into this topic actually right in a bit because I really wanted to talk
Sure.
about, freelancing, but we'll do just in a few moments.
Hmm.
Worldwide effects, right? That's your
Yeah,
full time at the moment. Um,
that's my full time at the moment. Yeah.
yeah, and you are a VFX supervisor.
Yes, I am. To me, these titles are always. I'm just, yeah, happy to basically take the creative, most of the creative calls, and I'm supervising the work as well. I must say, with my colleague who's helping a lot, and we just do that for more than 2 years now. It's
Oh
going
wow, it's
well.
been some time. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. The
lost the track.
first big show was basically the new Hellboy, the reboot one. So there was a lot of a lot of creatures, and we basically did a few assets, and then shared with Goodbye Kansas and with Mr. X in Canada. So we did our own sequence, our own characters. We gathered the team, and I was involved in recruiting, supervising. Like, there was so much that after my ILM move to Worldwide Effects, you go from just doing very specific creature and character work. I finished my work on Jurassic World 2. It was such an amazing show, and the dinosaurs and all that. But you're just, I mean, you you're still responsible for lots of the creative decisions, because there's you work with an amazing concept artist and concept art department. But then all of a sudden you realize there's so much more that you could do when you move into a smaller house, because we had to that's funny, we had to choose furniture, desks, and then computer configurations, then set up the team, and then the shots started coming, and deadlines are, you see the milestones and you still don't have the team. So that's where we pulled our connections and started calling friends, and hey, are you interested? This is going on, the show is cool. And you need to just very quickly gather the team and start working. You haven't been outside of like a big house, and you need to set up a like even freestyle pipeline. It was messy, but that's where we are, and at the moment things are going a lot better. It was fun. Even the first show, it was very, very challenging, and yeah,
And
that's where
that
I am.
sounds amazing. That actually to me sounds like, hashtag startup life within the VFX world.
It was, yeah, it was, and it still is. I just basically we maintain the core team. There are some amazing talents in our team. But, all the people came from ILM. We had our animation supervisor was from Weta. It was just big names. I don't want to pick any of them more than, like, I
Yeah.
have preferences, but the team is really amazing. Framestore, NPC, ILM, and we at the moment we work with a quite of a unique team, and the studio is very boutique in a way.
Mhm.
So we moved on to other shows and worked with Cinesite, collaborating, and that's what it is at the moment.
So since you're, I think actually you're the first person that I'm speaking to that can speak on behalf of like a boutique production company, and that is, I think, very, very interesting. So, like, what do you think is the minimum number of artists or like, team members that it takes to to actually pull a production together? Because as you said, there's so many moving pieces, so many
Yeah.
specific like parts.
Yeah.
So yeah, what was that for you guys?
There are. The first thing you need to do is, I mean, we've all read that you need to be the least clever person in the room, right? And everything will go right. This is just, I'm the example. Seriously, it's what I knew is like, you have all the different departments, and you need a good leader per department. That's for sure. So you go to a very skillful, experienced person, and if you have a good leader, then he will be able to help you with finding the other senior people, mid people, and junior people. So you need the workforce, and then you move on to like filling the gaps. But you need a few key people that you need to rely on, speak with. And what I like about our studio at the moment is that we are between 20 and 30 people, but we have been crewing up and down, and we keep the size of the skeleton crew is around 15 people,
Uh-huh.
including myself and my friend and colleague. I need to say his name now, Milen.
Okay.
His name is Milen, and basically, including us, we are around 15 people. So I think with having these members, you can always, again, the industry is so small that you can reach out and find, hopefully, the right people. Apart from riggers, there are no riggers anywhere in the world.
Okay, it's like now we
Yeah.
should put like, like rigor alert.
Rigger
Catalan.
alert. Yes,
Rigor
absolutely.
alert, please, everybody who hasn't
This is it.
chosen a path in this industry. There is a big rigor alert.
Yeah, there is. I mean, yes, and then you fill the gaps. You rely on these people, and it depends really. Like your question, if I go back to it, you really depend on how many shots you will take. So you need to be realistic. For Hellboy, we had a big sequence, fighting sequence, and there was this transformation. That's a long story. I will never want to
Okay.
get involved again with transformation, creature that transforms, because producers never know what the percentage of transformation that they want to, like, that they look. They tell you, oh, yeah, we know, roughly 25 to 30% of the, like, the morph between human and, let's say, end design.
Yeah.
But then you show them what actually is the 30%, and
20%.
they're like, no, more. And you're like, this is 50. Yeah, okay, 50 is great. Then you go, and then if it transforms multiple times, it just gets so tricky that you lose a huge amount of time, and it was tough. Yeah.
Man, okay.
Yeah. So
Now there is a
there
transformation
are
alert as well.
yeah, transformation alert. So they're definitely challenging, like as in everything else, right? Challenging tasks, but you learn a lot through the process, and hopefully it will get easier. I think it got easier, to be fair, now that we have pipeline and all. But 10, 15 people, get your key leaders per department, speak with them, rely on their opinion, hear the rest of the team. This is super important. We sit down and we talk. There is no me taking the calls or whatever. I can say, like, creatively, I think this will be better. But honestly, the people are coming also from big companies. They have their own experience. And I'm always saying that if you go for someone that you like his work and his quality, as like just his work ethic, you need to listen to them. That's why they're in your team. Yeah.
That is so interesting. So, like, oh my God, I've got a list of questions here. But anyway.
Yeah, go.
So, like, I'm listening to you, and I'm kind of coming to conclusion that you also hire people that you know from before, so you don't really go on.
No, they knew each other. I never dragged anyone
Okay,
into
fine.
it.
So the leaders of the departments hire people that they know. So it's not like
In a way, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's like some experience, like, do you think you can speak for, like the average, or like something like why or how do people know each other? I'm just thinking of young artists out there that are probably listening to us, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, if I'm a young artist,
Mm.
so I don't know, be anyone. So how do I get to know people if I'm not like,
All the studios, they search for different experience levels. So when I started, I didn't have any connections, any experience. I didn't know what to do, and I was asking even to the artists, "Hey, I'm 3D artist. What should I do?" And they were like, "Well, make your portfolio and start applying." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So make portfolio. Where do I apply? I had like, I mean, sounds like it was so much back in the days. It wasn't. I started 6 years ago, the whole journey for me, but I had a solid traditional background, and this helped me a lot. So just for the young people, the young like striving artists, honestly, there is a lot of work, and if they work hard and they have the talent and just they do the hours, I think any studio will eventually have work for them. Hopefully, if it doesn't happen like yet and it doesn't click, they should just keep working on it. Yeah, that was the way the things worked with me. And then the connections that you spoke about, they they're inevitable, right? You start and you go in this company, you speak with these people, you learn that amount of like just
Mhm.
things, and then you move on to another one. And you should never forget that this whole, I call it a game, this whole thing is very complex. It's not just the skill, it's not just to be friendly and talkative. It's complex on
Yeah.
multiple levels.
And well, that's a great clarification. Thanks for that. And I
Yeah,
spotted another thing that you mentioned that I also find quite interesting is like the work ethic and like the communication
yeah,
that I absolutely agree with, because this is essential. But
yeah.
how do you think you can judge somebody's work ethic, and what is it even for you when we're talking about the artist? So, like these qualities that don't stand out in the portfolio.
Work ethic is, I think, working with people, you can definitely tell who is passionate about it, who is doing even more than expected, and who's putting more. Like for me, I even had that problem just because I really like. I mean, again, I'm gonna say it. Like I really like just sculpting and art related just details and structure and form and this whole thing. So sometimes, for example, on Jurassic, I remember the supervisors were telling me, we don't see that, we don't need to see that, and I'm just sitting there to finish this bit, even though it's like between the toes. Because if you leave it blank, for me, honestly, it's not a great thing, because you end up you might being late, you might have to stay longer, and no one is requiring this from you on this particular point. So you need to, but this is work ethic. This is like you're really passionate about it. You don't just look at the time all the time and 9 to 5 and go home and whatever. I think different departments approach their job in different way. I don't want to put any above
Yeah,
the
of
other.
course.
Each of them is very important, but for me, moving into a smaller studio was very helpful, and I've learned a lot just managing in a way and dealing with more people from different departments. And then at some point we had bad apples. um, you just see that this person he's not even striving to come up with an idea or whatever. He just listens to you. Yeah, okay, I'll do it. And if he does it, even if there are a few more hours, there's no drive, no nothing. Just wait for the time of the day. Okay, see you tomorrow. Yeah, you can leave at, let's say, 6, whatever. I don't mind. I even respect people that they work hard and they leave on time. That's great. but still you can recognize the good work ethic and who's putting the hours, who is just living with their job and their ideas. They're bringing a lot to the table. You discuss, you might not always go with it, but it's easy to be recognized, and companies and is super valuable.
Yeah.
Just saying your opinion out there is also important.
Yeah, I think it's just as you're saying, it's like being there for the team, and it doesn't
Yeah,
matter if you're the best or not. You're just like present in a way.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, what do you think, and how do you think it changes when the team is virtual? Because now so many teams are like suddenly virtual, and
We are.
again, like we have to
Yeah.
deal with like work ethic virtually. So I don't know if you have a tip for somebody who wants to show good work ethic, like in a complete remote setting, or like how do
It's
you see that even?
honestly, you don't even have to show it. I think if you want to just show it,
Yeah, like a fake work ethic.
it will be a fake work ethic, and you can again tell. It's just, I don't know. It's for me. I think the remote work, it has lots of pluses and like pros and cons,
Yeah.
because lots of the bigger studios now, they work with artists that they haven't worked before, because they needed them on site. Now all the people could be off site. So for me, with Blizzard, with Blur, all that worked great, right? But when I do work with my team, um, I always think that going to the next desk and discussing or scheduling a meeting very quickly in 15 minutes, and you gather all the team and you talk about the problem, or that crazy deadline that just arrived, then it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
What I don't like about the remote stuff are all these meetings and calls. Not hopefully, but luckily enough, there is a production team, and they do a lot of work. They're so important, where they just schedule everything. So you just jump on a call, decide, and then you go. But yeah, pros and cons. Honestly, if you do the work and you're active and you're out there, you always deliver your tasks, and even you come up with an extra, I don't know, proposal there for the particular shot or character or design. It's very easy to see who's really into it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, I guess, the easy is just like how active the person is, and it's also possible to be present when you're
Yeah,
on remote.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very easy to tell.
Well, I
Yeah.
trust you. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Um,
you will see.
so, and finally, like the topic that I really wanted to jump in, and I'm glad that you mentioned Blur and Blizzard again, is actually, freelancing together with like combining freelancing gigs with
Yeah,
like a full-time job that I know many people do, but like way more people actually want to do.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
how do you see this? If it's hard for you, if it's like challenging, and just if you think that it's a viable thing at all, or you kind of do it out of necessity, or what's that like for you?
For me, thankfully, I don't do it from necessity.
Okay.
I just, I mean, yeah, it depends how passionate you are about your work. I don't even see it as work. I see it as hobby, and it's just, I'm lucky enough to be paid for it, because when these two, let's say, jobs are done, if I have the time, I do my personal stuff. I think that the personal projects are extremely important, because this is where you take your decisions. This is what represents you. This is what ideally builds your portfolio and represents you as an artist. Even not so much portfolio as I'm gonna get that job. It's the portfolio that represents you as an artist. If you want to show this is who I am, and we're not talking companies, we're not talking job all the time job. We're talking about what are your choices, what are your topics, what do you want to show and share, and what structure or um, personal, I don't know, experience or character or whatever grabbed your attention, and you put down hours for this and you sacrifice other hours from somewhere else to do that. For me, portfolio with personal stuff is not really uh, always you need to strive to do that portfolio, because they will call you another
Yeah.
company or whatever. Hopefully they will still um, get back to you and task you, and you will start a healthy working relationship, which with me happened. I even, like, sometimes ask myself, my god, I don't have anything rendered or textured, and how did they even, like, got there too? But when it happens, it's super super satisfying, because you didn't do anything that, oh, I need to do that because someone will like it. But I really don't. For example, I'm not, let's say, into zombies, right? And I don't have a single one, so I'm not gonna do one, never. Or at least, let's never say never, but you
Yeah.
know what I mean. It's,
Yeah.
yeah. So sometimes you do that, as you said, like out of necessity. In my case, is not this. It's just the passion and what I love to do. And it's tricky to be done, because it requires so many hours. And I think you need to
Yeah,
really,
exactly.
yeah, you need to sacrifice hours and hours, and you need to basically be lucky enough to have a partner who understands and can support this craziness, because we are crazy about what we do. And yeah, I'm lucky in that matter as well. So I do appreciate a lot the time I've been uh, left to play in
Yeah,
work.
okay. Cool. So basically your playtime, would that be personal projects or side gigs? I love this
Yeah.
playtime thing. Anyway, so that's like after you're done with your day job. So it's like evenings and weekends
Yeah.
mostly.
Yeah, mostly. Sometimes you end up doing full weeks, running into another full week, and then you do realize you're not a machine, you need a break. So when weeks are merging, it's not great. You need to have at least one day. So when it comes to like a weekend, like, go out there if you can, if you're not locked down, right? But if you can, go out there, and then even like going for a walk or whatever, and leaving the town and then coming back, I can still continue, but you need that few hours just refreshing, because otherwise it gets you're losing idea of what day is, and it becomes very very tough. But yeah, after the day work, then you do, it depends also how quick you are.
Yeah. Great point. You're reading
Yeah.
my mind. That was the next thing, actually. Seriously, like it's just here. So I was going to ask if for your, like let's call them side gigs,
Yeah.
if it's actually about hours, if it's about project, and whether you need to actually put another 8 daily hours, which comes up to your 16 working daily hours, or it really is about your speed and deliverables. Just talk to me a little
um
bit about the side gigs, like
yeah.
how do you
Yeah,
structure
i
that?
think i think you can, I mean, the time in our industry, in our day-to-day job and all that, is a little bit uh, subjective,
Hmm.
because if you, like, usually you have a task, you have a goal to achieve. It really doesn't matter. Like, you have usually a few days or 2 weeks, and if you're okay with that time, of course you don't have to just leave. But there are artists, based on their experience, a lot quicker than others. So I think in the end, it matters the quality. It matters if you really deliver what you've been hired for. And along the way, if you can do more than this, like you don't just ask for another task, but you put more quality into it. So if you hit that quality and you're satisfied with your work, and hopefully supervisors or like your client is happy with it, then I think, it's not about these 8 hours, because someone
Okay.
might take 9 and might deliver poorer quality. So
Yeah. No, no,
yeah,
for sure, for sure. So, like, and what is for you, like, like your personal add-on, like kind of a quality add-on. So, like, for example, in case of freelance gig, would you be, what would you be adding as like, your a little bit more from your side, or you just
I
like,
think, I always try to, for me, the structure is very extremely super important, because the details, they come on top. Then if you are solid there and the anatomy is there, even if, let's say, the client says, oh great, that's fine, if I can push that more so I can be happy with it, great. Then comes to the next level. If I can push more the quality, the details, I'll do it. In the end, I know that it's great that they're happy, but if this thing is going to represent me, I'm gonna put that time, right? Because this will lead to other cool things, other clients, and also I will be happy to share that with the artists and the art community there without hesitation. I had 3 days, so this is why it looks bad. Well, that's my name there, so I really want to do the best I can, and even more where I'm satisfied, and then you stop. So when you add a few more bits on every level, it kind of shows.
yeah, yeah. So I'm sure that's, that has something to do with just like your personal style and with your personal approach and projects in general. Speaking of which, actually, what are your personal projects now? Like, what are you working on in your free time, if there is any? I actually normally start from this, but like, let's
I
finish.
have I have multiple ongoing projects. I think when you start, you're trying to go from point A to point B or Z, right? And that's great. At some point, when it comes to personal work, I lost the necessity to go and detail everything. I think the more you know, or at least, I mean, there are crazy good artists out there, and they just have different style. I'm talking about, personally, what happened, I started being more, going a little bit, I just saw it in my works, when at some point you step back and you see your portfolio. I'm like, I went back to uh, more traditional stuff, more simple
Yeah,
forms and
I've seen
shapes, and
that.
it kind of shows. And then when you work with a client, you go and you do that extra bit. You do the texturing, you do the detailing, and it's all great. But when it comes to personal stuff, I just took a step back and started to break down the things into gesture, light, forms, character. Even if it's sketched, it kind of it has the feeling that you want to give, and then hopefully you will refine it. But then I ended up with loads and loads of, like, big chunk of work, unfinished. So at the moment, I'm just trying to show, because clients are coming and they're like, you don't do texturing, right? And I'm like, no, I do. Well, you don't have it. So, okay, I got it. But then you do something and they realize, oh yeah, that's okay. That's great. Fine. You do it. But right now I'm doing, apart from the old ongoing ones, I'm just not even sharing now, so I can finish something.
Okay.
Um, so that's another thing that I'm testing at the moment. Just sharing too many whips. I I think the drive, you lose it. The motivation drops with every whip that you're sharing.
Okay.
At least that's how I felt.
Oh my God.
And now I'm just not sharing anything because I have many sketches, many gesture sculpts and drawings and whatever. So now I'm just trying something else, and I'm working on one barbarian from just a fan art. I mean, it's just, yeah, my take on barbarian from Diablo 2. And I have lots of others.
So basically you're aiming to like finish completely as of like texture render, like the full
Yeah,
texture?
that will be new for me. I've learned more, I think, when I was working on simple shapes and forms and anatomy and all that. For me, it was great that I had the time to do that, but now I just want to finish something more with the level of detail and refinement that I would like. And in order to do it, I'm not sharing anything because I feel that there are people out there, they share like 1,003 images before their final one. And all due respect, that's great. I just can't do it.
So why can't, like, talk to me about that? Like, can't is like just your personal thing? Like, that's not good enough? Or it's just like the motivation thing? Or you just want to push yourself to finish actually?
I just think that when you say I will do that, I'm working on that, I will finish it, you see, and at some point that energy and charge, it just drops little by little. So I'm not sure, I'm still testing it, but for now it works well, and I'm just staying there and trying to finish that thing basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And I really wanted your take on another thing. As somebody who comes from a traditional art background, so do you consider like 3D art as an art or as a skill and more of a tool? I don't even know how to place it in the other bucket. But I hope you understand what I mean, right? Because there's a lot of
yeah. That's a great question. Because I was hardcore traditional. So I have a high school of fine arts. My parents are artists. This is my mother's painting, and it's just like I live and bred, and I was there in their studio with the smell of oil and all that. And then at some point when I graduated Academy of Fine Arts, I thought, and now what? I'm like from Bulgaria. For them it worked, but the more the democracy came into play, the less the artists, the poets, and they just struggled in Bulgaria. So I didn't want to go that way, and I wanted to use my traditional skills, to do something that I'm passionate about. So I was always drawn into my grandpa. He was an actor, and he played in plays and movies and etc. So I always loved the cinema. So I thought, oh, okay, wait. So I have art, I have cinema, I love games. So maybe something will merge these all. And it was like very natural continuation with the ZBrush, thank God, and just the sculpting. It felt like drawing into space. And then I've learned how much I don't know about sculpture because I graduated illustration. And and like, back to your question, I thought in the beginning, this is always great, but it's 3D. So I was like, in a way, disregarding it. But during these years, I've realized that I was very silly and very stupid. And then you realize that it doesn't matter if it's charcoal, if it's pencil, if it's oil, if it's 3D, if you're going to print it, if you're going to use clay. It matters the subject, the gesture, the way you execute it, and in the end, what you want to also say. Not just words, you need to put you need to use the skill there and to have something to say. But really it's media, especially now that we can, everyone is starting to 3D print, and then you can scale it up and down, and it's just media. So it is art. It depends what you're doing. Not everything that is modeled for me is sculpture. It's just modeled. It's something. I mean, yeah. But if you use it the right way, you can do art.
Wow. Okay. That is a serious statement. That is a serious statement.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I love it. So, and I guess you partially answered my next question, which was like, if everything that is created, that if every character is an art, which is, I guess, not. So then,
I mean,
it's a bit
it
hard.
depends, right? You can put it in the character art category, but then there is art, and there is drawing and drawing, from, I don't know. There is a sketch from Michelangelo for the Sistine Chapel, and then there is a sketch of someone that, I sketched a bird, and yesterday I started. Well, yeah, I know, but let's not put them side by side, because there is a huge difference. So I'm a little bit more conservative with these, like giving, oh, this is superb and this is fantastic. Like, guys, just chill down on all that, like, excitement. It's not all that excitement, like that exciting. You will get there. I see that you're good. You have a lot, to develop still, and to get the experience you need, and you will get there. I don't like put brakes on anyone, but it takes time, and yeah, you might never end up there.
So then let me just round up with my last question. So do you think that artists that have something to say have better chances to be successful in the industry, or it like has absolutely nothing to do? I'm sorry, that's a hard question for this time of the day.
I think by artists having something to say, I hope that all the artists have something to say, or at least.
Yes, I do hope so.
Yeah. I think, like, the industry, and this is a very long, we need part two.
Okay, we probably need to open some wine now.
Yeah, exactly. I think they can go together, for sure. You like having something to say, you can still keep it and do it as a personal thing, and then you can.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a great point. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because you need to know, you need to target your projects. If you do something for a client, you do what the client has hired for. Otherwise, you do not like go with it, and you say, no, I'm busy, I'm going to work on my personal stuff, and then say whatever you want. But if you work for a client, you work with them, then you find time and you dedicate that on your personal stuff.
Okay, thanks for breaking it down for me. That's great. But before I let you go, we actually have a fun tradition here on the podcast. I've got like a short questionnaire of 10 questions. You're allowed to answer with just a few words.
Yeah.
And I'm ready when you are.
Yeah, okay, I'm ready to.
Yeah, ready. Let's go. So what's your number one tip for combating distractions when working from home?
Hopefully your job will be your hobby. You will be, you won't find as many distractions as you think you will.
Okay, great. So what's your favorite tradition or holiday?
My tradition on a holiday?
Your favorite tradition or holiday, one or another?
Just sea. I love the sea and the sand and just swim around, and it's very easy. Just you need to be somewhere close to the sea. That's it. I go in a mountain and I'm like, not so much for me. It's great, but sea. That's it.
Okay, Great.
Yeah.
What's your favorite way to get in some exercise?
Favorite way is like starting it. I think starting and going through that pain, and I was very much into it, but then lots of stuff. And now I think as soon as you start, it get easier and it's good for you. So do it.
Okay. What's your most used emoji?
Most used emoji. I think depends who you talk with. But
Okay.
I laugh a lot, and then the other is, I don't know, like I think I laugh a lot. That's it.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, but that's like if it's really funny. Otherwise, I don't even engage the conversation.
Okay, now I know. Next time I chat with you, if there is no laughing emoji, I'd rather just like
Yeah, just no.
got it. So what's your source of inspiration?
Could be anything. It's everywhere. It's amazing, amazing art from all the artists out there. There's so many. I'm not gonna start. Pinterest is a great resource. Old masters, and also just observe life. It has a lot to give you and to drive you and to lead you somewhere. It doesn't have to be. Don't search. Don't force it. It needs to really. It's everywhere. Yeah.
Wow. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
I think it was patience. Um, Patience, yeah, and just throw away your ego. I still struggle with that, but the less you have, I think. I mean, there's a discussion at home because my both parents are very different and they're both artists. The one is like, go with the ego, you need that. The other is like, no, you don't understand. So I was like
That's
somewhere
like
in
in your head
between.
as well.
Yeah. But if you toned it down and you keep some, so you can have that drive, great. Just you don't really need it because, as I said earlier, it's a very complex game out there, and you need to show everything you have to say with your work.
Right. So, how do you celebrate little victories?
I struggle with that. I always tend to not see. I mean, yeah, just how do I celebrate? I try to be happy about it, but there's always something next that I'm chasing. So it's almost like no celebration, and there's so much more, and it's you need to get to award yourself though, because it's at some point you end up very exhausted, and you make you can be miserable even though you're achieving stuff. There's like one step at a time, that's all.
Okay. If you could see one movie again for the first time, what movie would that be?
The Game with Michael Douglas and Sean Penn.
Right. And if you could choose any two famous people to have dinner with, so who would they be?
Famous people, dead or alive?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. The one will be, I might quit after, but it will be Michelangelo Buonarroti. And the other will be probably another artist. Let's say Rembrandt.
Wow. Okay. Amazing. And then my final question that you probably need after this dinner is, what's your backup career?
I will be an actor. Yeah, I'll just follow what my grandpa did. I think I still have like, am I good enough to do what I do, or it's too late to be I'll stick with this one. But yeah, I
God.
will do that for sure.
Oh my God. I would really like to catch up with you back again in like 20 years to see if you're still an artist or if you're actually an actor.
Check. Maybe I'll fail as an actor, but if my portfolio is still growing, maybe I just stuck with the work.
Yeah, exactly.
With the sculpting. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Ran, thanks so much for your time and for all the tips and for everything. Really appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It was a real pleasure.
All right. Ciao. Wow, that was quite interesting, right? And thanks for staying all the way until the end of this episode. Just another reminder, if you want to check out Monster Challenge, go to artheroes.co/monster-challenge or check out the link here in the show notes. We're also leaving all the links for you to connect with Ran Manolov if you want to. There is his art station, his Instagram, and some other useful resources here in the video description. You can also go to Art Heroes website and find more detailed show notes and Ran's artwork as well. Well, that's it for me for now, and I'll see you next week. Stay tuned.
Thanks for listening to Art Heroes Podcast. Check out www.artheroes.co for show notes, more interviews, and free tools made for you by our team of mentors. Tune in next week for more inspiration, and keep up the great work, hero.